What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the JTM. I got my boy Ryan here from the Splash podcast on the
What's
Strive Network.
up?
Spencer couldn't be here, but I mean, I'm going to have him on in the future. And I'm not that mad because I feel like this whole thing, like this whole Strive thing, has honestly created like a super dope friendship between us. Like,
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I feel like we have like a really similar like type of humor.
Oh, definitely, for sure. That's the first thing I noticed about you when we start talking. I was like, this guy gets humor. He can make a joke.
And that's like a must for friends for sure.
Oh yeah,
So
without a doubt.
So that was super dope. But today we're going to talk about a lot of different things on the podcast. But just to start off, wanted to also mention that I went on Cover the Line and the Splash this week.
Yes,
You can
sir.
go watch those on YouTube and listen to the audio versions on Apple, Spotify, or whatever. It's crazy because like I look at Anchor and there's like 5 other different like podcast platforms that like people can listen to us on that I've never even heard of. And I go look at my analytics and like every week for some weird reason, I have no idea who it is. There's somebody who listens to me on Overcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, you got some loyal fans. All
I
right.
know, bro. It's like, I'm like, bro, it's like, I don't even, who uses that? No offense. Like,
I love looking at the locations and seeing where different people are from.
dude, I have
Like,
somebody from Ireland.
really? We
I
have
have like,
someone from Spain, and I'm like, what?
well, maybe that can make sense because basketball is pretty big in Spain. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true.
And in a lot of European countries, like they learn English in school. Like that's like you know what I'm saying?
In Europe, like most people know 2 or 3 languages, and it's so different than here.
Yeah, it is. But like here, I'm like, yeah, bro,
They're
I
better than
know
us.
English. And, I took sign language for 2 years and don't remember a thing.
Really? See, most people are just like, yeah, I took a couple years of Spanish in high school. It's all good.
Yeah, yeah.
Hola.
I know Spanish, no habla español. But yeah, anyways, I think this is episode like 33, I think, on
The
the
Larry
JT.
Bird special.
The Larry Bird special, Brad, is. Okay,
Yeah.
so now that kind of jumps into what we're going to talk about later, but I'm going to ask about basketball. So I know that, like, correct me if I'm wrong. So you and Spencer's family are, like, from Boston, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Our parents grew up in a small town outside of Boston called Sturbridge,
gotcha,
Massachusetts.
gotcha.
Lived there for like 20 years or something like that. Um, Moved down to Texas, and then the rest is history. But yeah, They grew up season tickets to the Patriots, Celtics, all that good stuff. Diehard fans, and so that kind of just carried over to the next generation for us.
Gotcha, gotcha. So y'all were born in Texas, right?
Yes, he was. Yeah, I was born in Austin, and he was born in Corpus, something
Gotcha,
like
gotcha. That's weird. Corpus.
that.
I'm just playing. No hate to Corpus, but I didn't even know they had a hospital there. But it's a big town. Now that I think about, I say that and I'm like, wow, I'm dumb. Like even San Marcos has a hospital. Like
Yeah, no, I thought you were just throwing shade at Corpus for a minute.
no. I said that and I was like, wait, I'm dumb. But anyway, so obviously you're a Celtics fan in the NBA.
Sure.
So got the Larry Bird reference right there. Where is Larry Bird in your top 10? Or where does he just rank all time for you? Is he in your top 10?
He is in my top 10, and he's not top 5, but he's around
Yeah.
8 or 9 for me because
Yeah.
I'm realistic.
Yeah, I got you. Like we were talking about, speaking of realistic, I think that's another reason why people should go listen to the Splash this week, because we talked a lot about Spurs toxicity on Twitter
We
and
did.
and just like the Spurs in general. And I feel like, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn here, but I feel like I'm like way more like unbiased than a lot of Spurs fans, because I see stuff on Twitter and they're just like, it's just they're so wrapped up in themselves, and I'm like, bruh. Like I can admit, like I thought we were going to be the 5 seed this year. That's what I predicted, 5-6, and I was completely wrong. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, but I can say that like they weren't
No,
that
yeah.
good of a team this year, and I don't think that like Tim Duncan is like the second best player of all time.
I respect that. But like, yeah, some Spurs fans on Twitter will be like pointing fingers at this and that, still somehow blaming Zaza Pachulia. But no, you just say, hey, you know what? It's not working with DeMar in LA, and it's all good.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so before we get into like this new series, which we're going to be starting, Ryan, you're the first edition of it, so you're special.
I'm excited, man. I'm
Bro,
honored.
it's gonna be fun. But before we get into that, just wanted to also say I did a YouTube review of Deontay Hitchcock's new album, Better. Go listen to it. It's on the Strive, or not listen, it would be watch. Go watch it on the Strive Network YouTube page, and go watch all the other stuff on the Strive Network YouTube page as well. So just wanted to put that in there since I dropped that this morning. So whenever this comes out, it'll be yesterday. But yeah, let's get into this thing, dude. So
All right.
this series is called NFL Predictions, right? And I'm going to bring on all of my friends who have different, favorite NFL teams, because the NFL schedule just got released, and we're going to go through each game on the schedule and predict what their win-loss record will be. So starting off with Ryan, I'm actually going to stop myself, because before we get into this, we had one more thing that we had to talk about on the NFL. So the Rams jerseys got released today.
They sure did, didn't they?
What are so Ryan, I don't think we've talked about this, so I want to get your I hate the word take, but I want to get your takes on not just the jerseys that got released today, but what were your thoughts? What's your journey with this new Los Angeles Rams logo and now to the jerseys?
So I liked the Rams logo and I liked their jerseys, right? They had a clean look. I liked that they wore the blue and the yellow at home and then the other stuff on the road.
Yeah.
It was a nice thing, nice system they had going on. And then they released that new logo, and it looked like the Chargers C, and the colors are they had the same colors in the same city. The logo just looked so like it was done by one of us, No, we probably could have done a better job. Right. And then I've seen the JTM logo. It's clean.
I appreciate it.
And then they released, I was like, okay, that's bad. And then they released the uniforms and the jersey, and the logo doesn't look so bad anymore.
Okay, so I don't hate them as much as you do, but at the same time, I get where you're coming from. They're definitely underwhelming. I would say the helmet's kind of nice. I like the matte on the helmet.
I do like the helmet.
The helmet's pretty good. And if I had to pick a jersey, I kind of like a little bit of the white fade, but it also kind of looks like a Pro Bowl jersey. And at that point, when I look at those, I'm like, okay, maybe you just change the helmet and then just basically keep the old home jerseys and then just adjust the away jerseys to where they're not the St. Louis Rams jerseys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I liked the all blue. I was cool with the all blue. The all royal blue is nice, but like you said, with the Chargers changing their uniforms, first of all, the Chargers came out with so many uniforms.
And they're all so good.
Yes. Because they had the color rush. Basically, what the Rams did is for their royal blue jersey, is they took the Chargers' color rush jersey from this year, and they were like, all right, let's make it the Rams.
That's true.
That's exactly what they did. Granted, that's probably why I like it, but it still is copying. I'd rather see the Chargers wear that jersey.
Yeah, have some originality to it,
Yeah. It was
also,
just...
with the number, the font, it looks like a soccer jersey or a college football jersey, right?
Yeah.
But
I would really
football.
say yeah, it does. I would honestly, you say the soccer jersey, and I hadn't thought of that, but it really does look like a soccer jersey now that you mention it. And what's crazy about them having similar jerseys? One, obviously the Chargers won that, especially since they've got the color rush with the royal blue and the gold. But then they've also got the powder blues, which look phenomenal as well. And they're going to be in the same stadium, and they're going to have the same colors. Imagine a Chargers-Rams game. Basically one team's going to have to wear all white and the other's going to have to wear all blue, but still in the stands, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between which fan is which.
They're all LA fans.
Yep. And
so there you go.
It's funny you mention that, because it's the NFL's done this before. They have the New York Giants and the New York Jets, completely different colors, completely different jerseys,
That's the way it has to be.
But, the Rams were God, we can't think of anything good. Just take what the Chargers did.
Oh, that looks cool.
But anyways, before we got into all that, I had to mention that because that was some actual NFL news. And it was funny because last night I was I wonder when they're going to release the jerseys. I Googled it. I was like, are they going to release the jerseys? And then I just happened to wake up this morning and they actually did release them. And I was like, yeah, you see, I wouldn't have minded the all white, but the fact that they made it bone and it's just this gross, gray in between gray and white, but like leaning a little bit more white. It's not good.
It looks like dirty a little bit,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And one of the points Pat McAfee made too on that, I know I said we're going to get to something else, but now I'm having all these thoughts on this, is you know how there's the yellow that fades into the white on the
Mhm.
jerseys? He's like, yeah, that's going to look great until, you know, it's a rainy game and somebody gets mud on that. Then it's just going to be yellow and brown.
Oh, yeah. It's gonna look
But,
like those throwback Green Bay jerseys,
oh God.
just
Or
like the
the,
freaking mustard.
yeah, the Steelers too. There's been a couple of crazy like throwback jerseys that just look
Hmm.
like navy and like, yeah, they just look like vomit.
Yeah,
Freaking, they're all NFC teams too, and they're like from like the north, like
it's a curse. I
yeah,
think it's a curse.
yeah, it's like the Bears and the
Yeah.
and the Packers. But anyways, with that being said, let's get into the meat of this episode, where we're going to go into predictions. But first, before we get into that, so I know you have an affiliation with the Texans. I'm assuming you had affiliation with the Patriots at some point. And I want to say before we get into this, I'm not trying to call you out because I know that when I've listened to the Splash, a lot of times Spencer, he'll just be like, "Pick a team, bro." He'll give you a lot of crap. To be honest, and I just want
Yeah.
to say this is a judgment-free zone, and
No, thank you.
I understand where you're coming from with a lot of this because, like, honestly, I've been spoiled as a fan. Like, I was thinking
Hmm.
about it. My favorite teams, like the Spurs, the Saints, and LSU, have all won a championship or multiple championships in the past 2 decades when I've been alive. They've won
Hmm.
8 total championships. That's like 36% of the time of my life. Like, you know what I mean? My favorite team
Yeah,
won the chip. So
lucky
I
boy.
understand maybe wanting to switch teams after a while. So tell me your
Mhm.
situation on your favorite team and how it now is the Bucs.
All right, so basically my whole life raised a Patriots fan, right? Only
Mm-hmm.
natural, and I was fine with that. And I'm still, I always have a soft spot for the Patriots. New England versus everybody. But over time, there was such toxicity with the Patriots fan base. I felt
Yeah.
like, not the true fans, but like a lot of people were giving us a bad rap, bad name, and then there's just scandal after scandal after
Yeah.
scandal. And at a certain
Deflategate.
point, I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, I know 90% of it, it's probably not true or over exaggerated, but still, I just want, the team to be legit, right? And I never knew if it truly was. I knew Tom Brady was an amazing quarterback. I know that Bill Belichick's the best coach of all time, in my opinion. Um, but then I started getting into, like probably 15 or 16, and always lived in San Antonio. And my mom's side of the family is from Texas, and everybody is a huge Texans fan since they came into being early 2000s. And so I was like,
Where's she from in Texas?
oh,
Just
sorry.
out of curiosity.
Uh, got a lot of. She's from Houston.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so a lot of people from Houston and Corpus, so it's just kind of natural.
Gotcha. So
Uh,
southeast Texas,
yeah, and
the
so, I saw.
Louisiana version of Texas.
I see where you're coming from. Not that
It
I've
is,
ever been to
bro.
Louisiana.
It is, bro. It is. Let me tell you, because all of my family that they evacuated after Katrina, all of my
Yeah,
the majority of my Louisiana family now lives in Houston.
really.
True story. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, I respect that.
Yeah, my aunt, she roots for the Texans and the Saints. Obviously, the Saints are like her number one team,
Hmm.
but I mean, especially it's easy to root for another team when like they're in different conferences. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, for sure. And that was kind of tough being a Texans and a Patriots fan because they're in the same conference. But I had a soft spot for the Texans because they sucked for so
Yeah.
long. And Andre Johnson, Matt Schaub, it was easy to root for those guys, Arian Foster.
Yep.
And so I just kind of, developed this semi love for them and
I
the
gotcha.
underdog story. And then Billy O'Brien came along and did some suspect decisions. I don't think that he's
Yeah.
the best coach in the world. And then final straw, kind of the perfect storm. He traded away
Freaking
DeAndre Hopkins and
yeah.
did a lot of other stuff. Got promoted to general manager somehow, and then Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski go on down to Tampa, and It looks good, and I've never hated the Buccaneers. So I was like, okay, well maybe the Bucs can be my team overall. Like, just after Tom Brady leaves, I can still root for the Bucs. My dad lived in Tampa for a little bit, so there's my tie. Works, makes sense. I'm going with it.
Cool. So, I mean, a lot of people may hear that and be like, bandwagon, meh. But, like, I mean, if you're going to commit to him,
Mm-hmm.
I'm down. And I understand, like, where you're coming from on all that. Like, my
Yeah.
friend Derek, he's a big Texans fan. And, like, he was excited for the season. And now he's like, Brad, I don't even know if or not DeAndre. I don't even know if Deshaun Watson's going to be our quarterback anymore. And I feel bad, bro. Because honestly, like, I kind of rock with the Texans too. Because like I said,
Yeah.
I got a lot of family there. They're the closest team to New Orleans, outside of New Orleans, obviously. And they're in the AFC. So, like, I don't mind rooting for them. I kind of have a soft spot for them too. Also because they're like, I like Texas teams, but they're not the Cowboys, which makes everything like a lot better. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
but yeah. Anyways, I can see where you're coming from. Honestly, like I know it's a lot of bandwagon, but if you stick with
Mhm.
the Bucs, man, I get it. And hey, they do have a good coach in Bruce Arians. And
Bought the hat. There we go. Right there.
oh,
Look at
dude, you're committed. And that's the old
that.
creamsicle one. All right,
Yeah, that's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
heck yeah, dude. Well, yeah, and their new jerseys are nice. They're
They're
so much
very
better than the
nice.
old ones.
Yeah, if they had those old ones, I probably might be like, you know what, Tom? I love you, but I think I'm gonna have to stay up here in the
And
north.
and the thing was they tried to make it like all futuristic with those too. Like when
Yeah,
they
and they
first came
missed.
out and now they're like my mic is tripping out right now. Give me 1 second. Oh my gosh. Oh, dude, like it was just in my headphones right there.
Ooh,
It was just like shh, like it was awful. Anyways, it's like like whenever people like scratch steel or like
ooh,
metal and
yeah,
it makes that noise.
yeah.
That's what was happening in my ears just then. But
Yikes.
yeah, but anyways, no, I love their new jerseys. The color rush is kind of honestly my least favorite, like the brown ones. Like I'm just not
Really?
the
I
pewter.
like those. Yeah.
They're not bad. I'm not gonna say I hate them. I like the white outlining around the red, but
Mhm.
I definitely like the white and the red jerseys. I would like to see them do red pants, honestly,
That
like
would
the
be
all
cool.
red.
I
That's
like the all white. I think that's my
me
favorite.
too. I think that's my
Mhm.
favorite too, and I do like the home ones. And I don't hate the pewter ones. They're just not my favorite. They're probably my
Mhm.
least favorite out of the bunch. But with that being said, Devin White is also the guy who. Oh, you got a LSU boy on your team too, and Devin White. He's one
There
of those
you
star
go.
Linebackers right here, right here. But
Okay.
yeah, he did the color rush jersey, so I guess I gotta like him a little bit because he was the guy who was in him.
You got LSU connections everywhere.
Yes, dude. That's basically like if the Saints aren't in the Super Bowl, like I just look for the team that has the most LSU players and that's who I root for or my favorite
Respect.
LSU player. So it was really easy for me to root for the one. I
Mhm.
despise the Niners. I don't think I would root for them even if they had the most LSU players
Mhm.
just cuz I don't know. I for some odd reason I just don't like the Niners. But yeah, they had Tyrann Mathieu, the Chiefs did, so it was really easy for me to root for the Chiefs this year. But anyways, let's get into the schedule, bro. So out of week one,
Yeah.
dog, we get Brady versus Breeze, number one. I'm trying to see. So this is an away game. So this is
Yeah, in the
in
Superdome.
in the Superdome. Obviously, my favorite team against yours, but at the same time, I mean, I honestly, dude, like it. If the Saints go, I think, like I'll say right now, I think that it's going to go even. I think it's going to split. But
Mhm.
if the Saints like lose both of these games, like I'm not mad at it just because we get to see Brady versus Breeze twice a year.
Yeah, that's really exciting because honestly, I felt like the past couple years in the Super Bowl we were robbed of that.
Yeah.
Well, one time we genuinely were robbed of it.
Yeah.
Actually, twice. Saints kept getting actually just once, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you could argue this year, but it was really like more blatantly last year.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, is this the part where I give my
Yes.
prediction?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
My
Here we
bad.
go. So, week one, Saints at Saints. I'm gonna give it to the Saints just because Superdome, tough place to play. Breeze still on his A game, honestly. And then with the Bucs, it's like it's the first game of the year, especially with lack of camp and everything, and they haven't meshed offensively. I don't think. Of course, there's going to be the Brady Gronk connection, but I feel like it's going to be a feeling out process. So I'm going to give it to the Saints.
That's literally the exact same thing that I think. And like I said, like I spoiled it already. I think they're going to split this year. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
just say it right now. Like we'll get down to week 9 and you'll talk about it later. But I think that the Bucs will get the game in week 9. But yeah, right now,
Yeah.
just a lot more chemistry. And the Saints did get better. Like now they have
Mm-hmm.
Emmanuel Sanders. They signed a couple other people too. So I think, just the continuity and the fact that there's more weapons on offense. I
Yeah.
think in the Dome week 1, the Saints will get it done. And I think that the Bucs will get better throughout the season, which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about. But next week, you've got 2 division games to start off the year. You got now Matt Rule's Panthers week 2, but the first home game as well. How do you think that Buccaneers defense is going to stop Joe Brady as the offensive coordinator?
Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Well, first of all, the Bucs defense got really good last year and is only getting better. I like it a lot, especially with Anthony Winfield from Minnesota coming in.
Oh,
I think that he has
that was a
potential.
really
Yeah.
good pick. That was a really good pick.
And then I still don't know what the Panthers are going to be doing. I guess they're going to be doing a Teddy Bridgewater quarterback, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Bucs, especially since they'll have a week. They'll have a week under their belt. It'll be their first home game. Tampa's going to be rocking. Fire the cannons, raise the banners, all that good stuff. I'm giving it to the Bucs 1-1.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you, Ryan, on this one. I had to make the Joe Brady comment. I actually really am excited to see how that offense looks.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I don't think that necessarily the Panthers are going to be that great this year, but when
Mhm.
you give Joe Brady Christian McCaffrey, like that's a great thing for the long haul.
And Teddy Bridgewater, who's
Yeah.
still really good.
And if he doesn't work out and they suck, then they've got to pick from either Trey Lance, potentially Trevor Lawrence, or Justin Fields next year. So like
Yeah.
they're gonna if they suck this year and he's not good, which I think he will be good, they can just pick a quarterback next year.
Yeah, exactly.
But going into week 3, you got your first out of conference game with the Denver Bronco. I have
Ooh, the Denver Broncos.
the Denver Broncos. And that's not even a Colorado accent; that's a Minnesota accent. But
I know.
you got the Broncos on Fox, and you got Drew Lock. What do you think is going to happen in Mile High?
Well, first of all, Broncos offense really good and getting better. I think Drew Lock is the real deal. I honestly think it's going to come down to defense in this game. And if the Bucs defense can really show up, I'd give it to them. That being said, Brady and Mile High have never really gotten along. But I think ultimately, I think the better team is going to win. I think the Bucs will pull it out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you're even as a Bucks fan, I think you're even more like bullish, if I'm using that term correctly, that on this game than I am. I'm kind of like, yeah, it's the Bucks, no doubt. But I can see where you're coming from because I don't know if this is the Broncos' first home game. It might be. I don't know. If it's not, then it's not. But if it's their first home game, I could definitely see a lot of excitement. And they're going to have a couple weeks to mesh with Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler, Cortland Sutton.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
and Melvin Gordon on top of Phillip Lindsay. I mean, they've got a lot of weapons on offense, but I think I agree with you in the fact that the Bucs defense will just get the most stops. And we haven't even really talked about this so far, but I mean, that's going to be high-powered offense versus high-powered offense. So I can see why that's a nationally televised game because that's going to be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I got a Bucs 2 in that one. So right now we have the same predictions. We got them 2-1 right now. And now we've got good jerseys versus good jerseys in week 4.
Yeah.
We've got the LA Chargers in Tampa, back in Tampa. What do you think is going to happen in this one?
So I want to like the Chargers. I really do. The team just always seems like they have so much potential. This is going to be their first year without Phillip Rivers, of course. Do we know who's going to be the quarterback for them yet?
We don't.
Probably Herbert,
I think
right?
at this point in the season in week 4, from what I see, this is what I would do and also what I think is going to happen. If I'm the Chargers, I sit Herbert the whole year because I think he has a lot of potential, but he needs to learn how to win. And I think him sitting back and just practicing and like learning the NFL will put him in a position to have success. regardless of that, that's just my like tangent on Justin Herbert. But regardless of that, I think at this point in the season, this early, I think it'll be Tyrod Taylor starting, because that is
Okay.
one of the things that the Chargers have been talking about. They said like they're happy with Tyrod Taylor next year. And I think
Right.
if they're a smart franchise, they just have Justin Herbert learn from him the whole season and then come back next year. Because the thing is with Herbert, like, I know like people talk about his motor, but also like dude lost to Arizona State. Like, and Arizona State's got an up and coming program with Herm Edwards, but he's lost some games he shouldn't have lost through his college career.
Yeah. I mean, I like him. You know, I'm pretty high on him, especially in a couple of years, but I think he's definitely that sitting a year would be the best thing for him. I think it's the
That's
best
what I
thing for
agree.
almost every quarterback.
I agree, especially since what we've seen happen with Patrick Mahomes.
Mhm.
I think like one of the things, this is totally going off on a tangent, but when we talk about like Tua, I think it's more realistic for him to come in like week 13. I've been hearing personally, I
Mhm.
would sit him the whole year, but when I hear that maybe he'll be starting by week 12, week 13, I'm more comfortable with Tua than with Herbert, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So anyways, so you got the Bucs in this one, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Big time.
me too. So through 4 weeks, the Bucs are 3-1 on the Mick Galloway show. Um,
Uh,
and now they're going on the road again, this time to Soldier Field. This is their first primetime game of the season. I don't know if this is Monday night. It says it's on Fox. So is that Sunday, or what would that be? Do you know?
um,
Because don't the networks usually have like certain games?
yeah, I have
Oh
no idea.
yeah,
That's
because Sunday night is NBC. But I don't know if this is on Fox, because ESPN usually gets Monday Night Football. Oh, is this a Thursday night game?
it is a Thursday night game.
Oh,
Ooh,
okay. So that's why it's not
okay.
the main
Well,
networks.
I mean,
That's not going to change the outcome,
it's
but
not going to change the outcome. It's gonna be the Bucks. I don't think.
yeah.
I mean, hopefully, Big Dick Nick has a good year.
Oh
But
my gosh. Yeah, Nick
was I
Foles.
allowed to say that?
You're allowed to say that. It's fine. No, I was gonna say Nick Foles. Yeah, dude. If watch Nick Foles just go like ballistic for for the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, for the Jags, he threw a touchdown on the play that he got injured for the year.
Yeah,
It's pretty. It's pretty. Hey, it's pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So we got Bucks here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, no debate. So we got 4-1 through 5 weeks for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then they got a tough game the next week, but I don't know. It might not be that tough with the way, I don't know. With the Jordan Love pick, Rodgers might be just like, yeah, I'm losing and until I get out of here.
I don't know what the Packers were thinking,
No, dude.
but that's not how you treat Aaron Rodgers. But
No.
honestly, this could go one of two ways. It could be Aaron Rodgers completely checked out, waiting to get traded or released, or it could be the Aaron Rodgers revenge tour, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like that's the more realistic one.
I agree.
I think, honestly, I feel like the Packers could take this one.
Yeah, I'm looking at this game too, and I'm feeling the same way as you. I think, and you know, you're gonna lose a couple games. I think this one, this will be a big game. It'll be Brady versus Rodgers, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers is definitely gonna play up to this game. You know, whenever you're going up against a QB like that, I mean, really the main three guys that are at the top of the mountain. I think you could probably include Russell Wilson in this as well, but the
Mm-hmm.
main three guys that are like, you know, the OG, you know, best quarterbacks in the league are probably Rodgers, Brady, Breeze.
Yeah.
And so obviously you got Mahomes too, but I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
like the old guys, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because Mahomes is still like 24. But
He's so good.
I know, and he's probably he is the best quarterback in the league. But yeah,
He's gonna be
anyways,
the GOAT.
yeah, I'm with you on this one. I think I've got dude, okay, you want to hear something funny?
Let's hear it.
So I just got a text from Amanda and it says, I guess we don't respond to girlfriends anymore.
That's the thumbnail right there. Me going, dude. All right. Well, you gonna text her back?
No. It's
No.
dude,
All
I'm recording
right.
the podcast right
Hey, you
now.
know what? See,
I can talk to her
listeners and
after.
viewers now on YouTube. You see how dedicated that this man is to the show for all of you, that he is risking it all.
No, I'll tell her that I was podcasting, and she'll be like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, I was also, like I said, I've been doing stuff for a while, so I have a reason to not respond
Yeah,
because I worked out right before this.
there you go.
Which I didn't tell her I was doing, but I understand also where she's coming from, and I appreciate that she wants to talk to me.
There you go.
Had to save my butt there. Um, but anyways, yeah. So we got the Raiders next on a Sunday night game, NBC. John Gruden. It's in the Las Vegas Raiders Stadium. Brady
The
in
Death
Las
Star.
Vegas, the Death Star, right?
Have you seen it?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Legion
Buccaneers.
Stadium, right? I agree.
Yeah, something like that.
This is going to be a fun one though, just because it's Brady in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a blowout, but it'll still be a fun one. It's a great primetime matchup.
I don't think that Derek Carr is the answer for the Raiders, but I think he's going to be the guy that gets them to their next guy.
I got you. He's a decent quarterback.
Yeah, but he's
there are
nothing
a lot
like
people,
super special.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that are a lot worse than him. So that's what I have to say about Derek Carr. But anyways, through 7 weeks, we've got them at what? That makes them
5-2.
5-2. I wasn't sure if it was 6-2 or 5-2. Okay, so we got them at 5-2 with their only losses being to the Saints and the Packers. I feel like those are pretty good losses, to be honest. And then they've got another primetime game. They've got 3 primetime games in a row, dude. Then they've got another primetime game against the Giants in MetLife. I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Their stadium? Yeah.
Yes, MetLife. Yeah, that's the one. The Giants, I like Daniel Jones a lot, let me just say. I think that he is very good, and the fact it's kind of like the Kristaps Porzingis thing when they drafted him and everybody hated it and booed him, but it turned out to be a really good pick. I think that he's the future of the organization. I think he's going to have a lot of good years ahead of him. Giants are still a mess.
Yeah.
That defense, can you name one person on their defense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Buccaneers.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. And they don't have an offensive line yet, so the linebackers and the D line of the Bucs are going to kind of eat them that game. That will not be a fun one. That will be a learning experience for Daniel Jones. We'll get to have a cool end of game moment with Tom Brady, and that's about all of that it's going to be. Maybe Saquon makes a big play, but he might be injured by that point in the season, and that's no hate to Saquon, but that's just like how running backs go. And yeah, that's not as fun or appealing as the Raiders game, even though both of these should be pretty solid wins for the Bucs. So now they're at what? That's 6-2 officially, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then we've got the Saints. This is going to be probably the best game of the year. I might go to this game. I'm serious.
Really?
Dude, my dad was telling me, because I have a friend who lives down in Miami. It's one of my dad's old Air Force buddies that I kind of grew up with. He lives in Miami, and they were saying we should go see Brady Breeze whenever they come to Tampa, and we'd go because they have general admission in the pirate ship.
Oh,
dude, and it's a restaurant, and they've got cameras with the games on, so you don't have to buy. It's not an outrageous ticket. You can sit, have a good time. You can look to your left, watch the game there, or you can look up and watch it on the TV because that's not the best angle. But whenever they're on the red zone, you can stand up and see it happen. Yeah, my dad
that sounds
might
amazing.
do that. So this game is going to be, honestly, I'm looking at this game, and because it's prime time, Sunday Night Football, Brady versus Breeze #2, I think this is going to be game of the year.
I'm really looking forward to this matchup, especially the second time around. Honestly, just the fact that they're at home, the fact that this team is definitely meshed at this point. I feel like Gronk is definitely coming back into his groove. I think that the Bucs take this one, but I think it'll be a really good game.
I think so too. I agree with you. And I think another thing with this game is in this scenario, right? They went on 2 games on the road, and the last game they had at home was a loss against the Packers. So I think that's going to make them super motivated, especially since it's a division game. And they're going to know, okay, if we want to win this division, we're going to have to beat the Saints in this game. And we don't want to let our fans down like we did last time against a good team against the Packers. So
I think the Bucs will pull out all the stops.
So that makes them 8-2 or 7-2 at this point.
Now,
7-2. I can't math. I got a 60 in college algebra, like a straight 60. But hey,
there you go.
D for degree, dog.
Yes.
Only in math.
All right.
And then they've got another cupcake kind of on the road. They go to Carolina.
I think this might be a trap game.
Really? Oh, after the old Saints big win.
After the big Saints win, They beat them earlier in the year. It's a 12 o'clock game. I think that they could go in a little flat-footed and maybe only win by like a touchdown or two.
You say that, and I see it, honestly, especially if by this point that Carolina Panthers offense is starting to get in its grooves. It'll be
I
week
think
10.
McCaffrey, yeah.
Yeah, and Bridgewater too. That's going to be a nasty read option they can run. Yeah, that could. I agree with you there. That could be a trap game, but I think, like you said, I think the Bucs pull it out, and that makes them okay.
Eight,
Now 8-2. Yes, sir.
8-2.
8-2. Everybody who's listening is like, bruh, can you count? No, but and then they've got the greatest jerseys of all time, the Los Angeles Rams, the next week in another primetime game. How many primetime games do they have? This is their last one of the season, and I think they've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got 5 primetime games.
And that's a shame that the Chiefs game isn't primetime.
Yeah,
what else is on that week, then?
Why is the Rams that's a weird thing.
But is that a Thanksgiving game?
November 29th or November 23rd? Week 11?
It's one of the two. I don't know. Something to think about.
I think this might be a Thanksgiving game. And it would be prime time. Ooh. Well, yeah, they got the Rams this game. I think this will be close, but I think what do you think? I don't want to give my prediction yet now.
So I think that this is honestly going to happen. I think that the Rams are not going to be good this year, but I think Aaron Donald is absolutely going to give that Bucs O-line nightmares. I think Tristan Wirfs is good. I think that Bucs line still leaves a little bit to be desired, in all honesty. I think that the Rams take this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm not trying to be like identical with you, but the more I thought about it, I was like, I think they're going to have to stumble at some points. Yeah. And I think, the D-line might win that game. And especially, I agree with you that I think the Rams are going to struggle this year. But at this point in the season, they might still be fighting for a playoff spot. Where at this point, the Bucs would be 8-2, right? Mm-hmm. So if the Bucs lose, they're 8-3. Maybe in this situation, if the Rams win, they're like, what would this be? Week 11? Maybe they're like 6-5 or 7-4 or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They come into this game like kind
trying
of
to get a wild card, yeah.
But like they still have a shot, so they're motivated. I think I agree with that. So that makes them 8-3, 8-3, and then they got the Chiefs
8-4.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's just there's no way around it, dude. Mahomes is gonna go in. Yeah, he's gonna do what he does. That receiving core, that defense. It's all so good. I think that the Chiefs have a real chance of repeating this year.
I
think when you have Mahomes as your quarterback, you have a chance every year. But
I think they got better too on offense. Oh, yeah. And I'm not even trying to
because they got what's his name?
Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I'm not even trying to like be like, oh, let me mention an LSU player every time I can. Like, but just legitimately, Clyde's like probably most underrated skill is his work in the passing game. And I think there's a reason that Andy Reid drafted him over DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor.
He fits perfectly in that
all
offense.
Those other guys. Yeah, there's a reason that they picked him over all these other running backs, and that's because he fits perfectly with their offense.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there were a lot of people on social media hating the pick, and they were like, well, you have Swift and Taylor and all these people. And it's like, okay, yeah, but while they might be better rushing, Helaire is still really good at rushing the football, but he's the best receiving back in this entire draft. And they don't. That's not a need for them. They don't need him to rush for 200 yards a game.
And they've got Damian Williams, who'll be a year better, showed out in the Super Bowl. Yes, he didn't have that great of a season last year, but I think playing big, that Super Bowl game is probably going to give him a lot of confidence going into next season. And I think he can pick up the rushing load. But on top of that, I'd argue that Helaire is even a better just like on the ground guy than him too. Mm-hmm. He's a little bit more dynamic with spin moves. When you're 5'8", it's a lot easier to kind of move through guys.
Imagine if they still had Kareem Hunt.
Dude,
he's so good.
Dude, yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I agree with you. 8-4 here. That Chiefs team is going to be ridiculous. Then they got a bye. But you know what sucks for the old Bucs in that one? They just had 2 straight home losses. I'm sure they're not happy about that.
Yeah,
I think they're going to come out of the bye pretty motivated.
Yeah, I think they're going to come out and beat the brakes off the Vikings.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I would love to see that, to be honest, too.
Oh yeah.
As a Saints fan, sad
There.
face.
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah, at least the rest of the league agrees that we got robbed. Um, so yeah, but that makes them what? This is I
9-4.
9-4, 9-4. You know what's weird? They don't play the Falcons until the last 2 weeks of the season. That's interesting. Wow. So they got the Falcons the next week on the road. What do you think? Because the Falcons, I think of Falcons, the Falcons are a sleeper team. Like I could see 3 teams out of the NFC South coming in, and I think the Falcons are a sleeper team. Not saying they'll necessarily win this game, but they got a lot better. What do you
I
think?
think honestly, I think the Falcons win one of these two games.
I agree.
I don't know which one. I don't think it really matters which one we say. But for the sake of this segment, we'll say that they win at home in this next game.
That's exactly what I was going to say, too.
Matt Ryan, good. Julio Jones, of course, one of the best, if not the best receiver in the league. Promising young team. I think
Todd
they're gonna be
Gurley
good.
now, too.
I forgot about Todd Gurley. Yeah.
That's why I think that they have a shot at making the playoffs. Like,
Yeah. I mean, if he shows up this year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I think he's also from Georgia, and like he played at Georgia and he's from Georgia. So I think a lot of times when that happens for players, that it's a good situation. It's a situation where he can be successful. He's got his family around him, and I think that's super like important for players.
Comfort is really important.
Exactly. And he's going to be back at home. And they picked AJ Terrell too, which I know he got crapped on in the national championship, but that was also against Jamar Chase. And if you look at like all of the other first round receivers, most of them played Jamar Chase and also got crapped on. So when they played anybody else, when they were covering, any other receiver, they were pretty good. So I think that Falcons team is going to be solid this year. I think they're going to be around like 9-7 area.
I would agree.
But yeah, so right now, what that makes them 9-5?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Because we got here. Let me. I just for the sake of my memory, we're gonna run through this. So we got Saints as a first loss. Then we've got Panthers W, Broncos W, Chargers W. That's 4, right? No, that's 3. I cannot count.
1, yeah, that's 3. They're watching this like, come on, guys.
Dude, I just got oh God, Amanda just tried to FaceTime me and it took me off the screen. She's gonna listen to this and be like,
do not disturb.
Yeah, so oh geez. Yeah, 9-5. That's what they've got to be. Okay, well here, let me look at the losses. So we've got the Saints, the Packers, the Rams, the Chiefs, and the Falcons. So that is 9-5. And then we've got the Lions,
Bucs,
and then
no matter
Falcons
what.
last game. Falcons last game. Bucs. Cool.
Yeah, Bucs.
Yeah, so what do we think? So that puts them at 11-5 on the season. Do you think that wins the division?
Honestly, I think that's second place.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think so too. I think the Saints are going to go like 12-4, 13-3 again.
Yeah.
I'd lean towards 12-4 though, but they might go 13-3 again. Honestly, I could see that because they got better, but also a lot of the league got better, so they might just stay put with the same record.
I agree.
But I think Emmanuel Sanders was a big signing because when you get Michael Thomas, like some help, like you actually have a real number 2 receiver now. I think that's huge. But yeah, with that being said, I will say this on the first episode. The Bucs Chiefs is my Super Bowl pick.
Really?
I think, I think while the Saints are going to win the division, I think the Bucs are going to make it. I think that I'm not trying to be like all conspiracy theory, and it's not even because I don't think they're a good team, but just like the fact that the Super Bowl's in Tampa and Brady could have gone a lot of places, but he went there.
Perfect storm.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of meant to be. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if it works out this way. I think it will because they're going to be the higher wild card seed, and in this scenario, I think the Saints will probably be like near the 1 seed. Theoretically, I don't know, they might not be, but I think that regardless, I could really see the NFC Championship being Saints Bucks, or even if it's the divisional, I think it's kind of like the Warriors Rockets series last
Oh
year,
yeah.
where that's basically the NFC Championship. So yeah, that's my pick right there. What do you have? Just out of curiosity.
So I have the Chiefs coming out of the AFC, right?
Yeah,
And then to meet them, honestly, I think it's either going to be the Saints or the Bucks. I'm going to give it to the Bucks just because I feel like Brady wants it a lot more, and I think that Breeze is okay with not having it at the end of the day.
yeah, because like I don't know if necessarily Breeze is okay with not having it. I just think that it's like we kind of said, I think it's the perfect storm. And I think that
It's
after,
meant to happen.
yeah, like I said, I just think that it's meant to happen. I think it'll be another close game. I think the only game that I think the Saints might win by like maybe 2 touchdowns or like 10 points or something will be that first
Yeah.
game. And I think that the Bucks like will want to prove that they're the better team, where the Saints are going to think that they're the better team.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of motivation for the Bucks.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that I just think that their experience, I think they've got a better defense too than the
Mm-hmm.
Saints. The Saints have gotten a lot better on defense, but I think overall the Bucks are a little bit better and more consistent on defense, because even when the Saints defense has gotten better, inconsistency has still been a thing with the Saints defense. And I just think that they're not, I think in that game, the Bucks defense is going to make more stops, and regardless, that offense is going to score a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's also on top of that. I think it's going to be like also the storylines for Chiefs Bucks. Like it's
Yeah.
basically like pass the torch, Brady versus Mahomes. Like
That's what everybody wants to see.
yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen too. Yeah. With that being said, too, what would be your Super Bowl prediction in that game? I have
I
Chiefs, bro. I
no,
do.
hold on.
Okay.
So we saw this year Chiefs 49ers. 49ers had that game
Yep.
until Jimmy G passed Emmanuel Sanders. I feel like that's where they totally lost. But Brady's not Garoppolo.
Yeah.
And I think that Bruce Arians is a lot better than
Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan. I think that this Bucks team doesn't fail where the 49ers did.
Yeah.
I think that definitely it'll be a very good game. And hell, who knows? I think that it could either be a really good game or the Chiefs completely blow them out of the water. But I
Yeah.
honestly, in a close game, I give it to the Bucks.
Yeah. I don't think that it'll be a blowout by any means. I could see the Bucks going up and then it being the same story again, where they just maybe give them a little bit too many opportunities. You know, the Chiefs defense gets a little bit of stops and you just give Mahomes the football and he just, late in that game. Honestly, that's what I see. I see a similar story to last season, but with it would be tougher though. It would be a tougher game for the Chiefs to pull out, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. But I get where you're saying. Like I could see the Bucks winning, where I don't think they're gonna choke, kind of like the Niners did to an extent.
Yeah.
But I could see a Chiefs comeback, but I think it'll be close regardless. But I'm glad that we have the same Super Bowl pick. That makes me feel a little bit better after being disillusioned from the NFL for forever. So
hey, you're back in touch. You're good.
all right, brother.
Or we both know nothing, but
yeah, for real. But all right, brother. Thank you so much for coming on the show and doing this little season preview NFL prediction series. Number 1, Ryan Galloway from the Splash. You got any last words, dog?
I just want to say thanks for having me on, everybody. You got a good man right here. Shameless self-promotion. Go listen to the Splash, our podcast, if you like all things sports and everything not sports too. That's all I got. But thanks for having me on, brother.
No problem. Hey, and I agree with you. Not even shameless self-promotion. Go listen to the Splash for sure. And just as a final note, also go, if you want to hear more of me for whatever reason, you can go listen to the Splash, because I was on there earlier this week, and the Cover the Line that we did with Mike and Spencer. And okay, actually, I have one little story at the end for you, brother. So remember how you're talking about how like I can't sit through like a Cover the Line? like podcast. And that's no hate, dude. I get on there and before, I'm totally outing Spencer and them right now. Spencer's like, yeah, dude, we don't do any notes. We just get on and talk.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, well, that makes so much sense. But anyways, go listen to those if you choose.
If you choose.
If you choose. The Splash, go listen to the Splash. If you
Yeah,
don't want to
that's the
listen
one.
to Cover the Line, it's okay. Yeah, I was on both of those, and also go watch the YouTube review I did with over Deontay Hitchcock's new album, Better. Anyways, thank you so much, Ryan, for coming on. We'll catch you guys next time.